Hey guys, it's Eddie Rosano here with the Rosano Group. I actually wanted to make this video for quite some time now. I was supposed to do it in the beginning of 2025, but sure enough, talked myself right out of it. So here I am, January 1st, 2026, new year, new me. So, really last year, a lot of people were reaching out to us, not just congratulating us on our success, but ultimately asking us what it was that we were doing different. So I wanted to make this series of videos to kind of put it out there, share it, but also in hopes that we could all grow together. And before 2025 became our best year yet, we really had to face some uncomfortable truths about what wasn't working for us. And really looking deep inside to figuring out how we were holding ourselves back. So this series is about the real changes that we made in our mindset, our habits, our relationships and our business, and how all those shifts ultimately transformed everything for us. And I'm sharing it because success didn't happen by accident. We made that happen. And it happened because we made decisions that were very hard, but necessary for our growth. So some of those changes included that we stopped operating in reaction mode. When you react, you allow your emotions to take control. And if there's one thing I've learned in real estate is that when emotions are involved, logical thinking goes out the window. What I say is that you gotta stop, think, and respond, which just allows you to move with clarity and intention and actually get closer to your goal. We also realized that growth required an identity change, not just goal setting. And by that, I don't mean changing who you are as an individual, but we started to expect more from ourselves. We really realized that who I've been up until this point, who's gotten me this far, is only going to get me this far. If I want to raise the bar and achieve something I've never achieved, then I'm ultimately going to have to step into a higher version of myself that can get me to where I'm trying to go. And when I say that, I don't mean to change who I am as an individual, because showing up as your genuine self is how you connect with people. Who I connect with as an individual is not the same person that you're going to connect with. And, that speaks for my competition as well. Being in the real estate industry where there's thousands of licensed agents, that's how I get my piece of the pie. I show up as my genuine self every single day, regardless of what other people think. And, I started shifting from chasing opportunities to really building systems and discipline. We can all sit around and wait for the opportunities to present themselves, but it's wasted time. You build the systems, you build the discipline, and you start creating those opportunities for yourself. We had to humble ourselves and really embrace accountability. And with that, we started facing our weaknesses head on, really leaning into the things that we were avoiding. And we committed to alignment, through faith, family, business, health. We wanted all those things working together and not pulling against each other. My good friend and lending partner, Matthew Labazetta, he always likes to say, the way we show up in life is ultimately how we show up in our business, and that determines our success. And I took that to heart. So we started to upgrade our standards, expecting more of ourselves. It wasn't just about our goals. We really had to look inwards. And not just that, we expected more of ourselves, but we also realized that we didn't have to serve everybody. Some people will just drain your energy. They'll take you farther from your goals and ultimately distract you from real opportunities. So we started leaning into the people that added to our peace, that added to our success, people that we could build long-term relationships with, because those long-term relationships are ultimately what add to your long-term success. And we started cutting out a lot of distractions and really doubling down on the things that move the needle in our business. We live in a day and age where there's so much information available to us, so many different strategies and paths that you can take. And when you're presented with all of it at one time, it can freeze you in your tracks, prevent you from doing anything, and ultimately slowing down your process or your progress. So eliminate the distractions, focus in on the things that really move the needle and keep the ball going forward. we also created a lot of just daily non-negotiables. These are forming new habits. I realized that the majority of what you do, let's say 80% of what you do throughout the day is all habitual, and your habits ultimately define who you are, and not just that, they produce your results. So if you want new results, you have to develop new habits, and it'll change everything for you. And we also focused in on leadership. That's where the Rosano group came into play. We started leaning into our team and really pouring into other people's and not just our own activities. Because nothing is meant to be done alone. And, with the challenges we all face and overcome, we have the ability to help others that are in that, process themselves. And, we all have so much information, so much experience to learn from each other that, we should be doing it all together as one and working towards those goals. So we started leaning into our team. And we invested a lot of that money back into ourselves and into our team so that we could learn. We brought on mentorships and even changed our environment. We switched brokers. We're here at Indy Realty now, which really gave us a place where we could learn and grow as agents. And we stopped trying to do everything by ourselves. We learned to collaborate and to accept the guidance and the support that was needed for us to grow. And so all this isn't meant to be a highlight reel. It's not highlight reel content. It's ultimately the real journey that we went through, including the struggles and the lessons. And my goal isn't just to show our growth. It's ultimately to help others grow with me. And so if you're feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or unsure of how to bridge that gap from where you are to where you want to be, just know that you're not alone. And transformation isn't about perfection. It's about the direction you're headed, the consistency, and the courage you have on a day-to-day basis. So 2026 for us is all about mastery. It's about the impact we make in intentional living. It's not just about the metrics and how many houses we sold or how much money we made, but it's our lives as a whole. And I'm documenting the process along the way, including our wins, our failures, our lessons, and all of our breakthroughs. And the goal is to really show what it looks like to pursue growth at that next level. And it's not meant to just be my journey. It's meant for the community. We can all walk this journey together. So if you feel like you're trying to grow alone, you don't have to. If you lack the mentors, if you lack the accountability in your own life, I'm here to be that someone in your corner. And so reach out, connect, and ask questions. Share your goals, because I'm here to walk with you guys. And growth happens faster when you have people who believe in you and challenge you. So, we're here to lean on each other. And this series isn't just content, it's an open invitation for a community that, supports and helps each other grow. So if any of this resonates with you, I please ask that you do follow the series and you join me on this journey. Share one goal that you're committed to in 2026. Drop it down in the comments, because I'd love to support you in that. And ultimately, let's grow together. One decision, one habit, one breakthrough at a time. I love you all. I wish you all a happy New Year's. God bless. Let's do this together.